Good morning, friends. As I've developed Gear Facts over the last 10 years, I've come to see it as a consumer advice channel, something to help people choose their options when it comes to musical equipment. So it was a great concern to me when I read in the news that two big players, Roland and Korg, had been given heavy fines for price fixing. Price fixing is when companies doing similar things get together secretly and say, hey man, we're competitors, but we're both in this to make money, so if you don't drop your price on this, I won't drop my price either. So prices remain artificially high. It breaks competition between the companies and ultimately the consumer pays more. After a very large investigation, Roland was fined a little over £4 million and Korg £1.5 million. Yeesh. And last year Fender and Gibson were involved in a similar investigation in the USA. Fender was fined about $5 million US and a battle-weary Gibson limped out of the arena with a pretty good record. And another giant, Casio, was fined around that time, £3.7 million also for price fixing. And it goes on. Yamaha fined £250,000 also for price fixing. And this was the court being lenient because Yamaha played a part in exposing the wider corruption in the industry. But they got fined again another 10%, about £40,000 additionally, because they kept doing it.
You want a fresh one?
I have to say I was disappointed on a personal level with these companies. I always saw them as my homies, my guys, my friends when it came to the joy of making music. But I see now that this was actually very naive on my part because at the end of the day they are businesses. They want to make money, and whether a business is selling life-saving medications or life-ending weapons, it's all about profit. It's just one of the realities of our society. I'm not making any moral judgment, that's just the way it is. And while we all like to be cynical about our respective governments, it's good to know that there are agencies out there keeping these corporations honest. As far as I'm aware, there haven't been any appeals from any of these companies. They've all just said, fair enough, Governor, I'll pay the fine. And that leaves you and me with one big question. What does this mean for us as consumers? Well, we might see a bit of a decline in prices as these big companies go back to competing rather than colluding. And also at the local level, retail businesses who sell musical instruments will have more room to move with their prices without the pressure of these big corporations to keep the prices up. And another thing that'll be interesting to watch is the second-hand market. Most instruments and audio gear is pretty expensive, so many of us look seriously at used gear. I know this YouTube channel does. So this is a big win for consumers, but don't expect a massive price drop overnight. The retailers are all stocked up and there's nothing immediately motivating them to extremely reduce prices. But keep your eyes on that gear you've been wishing for, because as your phone reads your mind and digitizes your thoughts, you might just find that bargain quite unexpectedly. But of course the real value of any material item is the joy it brings to your day. So as always, my core piece of advice on Gear Facts is buy the one that makes you smile. Also, please take a moment to subscribe and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.